Hi, I'm Adam Winston, Field CTO here with WatchGuard Managed Services, and today I'm going to talk about the value of the AI-powered SOC in detecting and responding to threats with total MDR. As you could probably see, if you're already a WatchGuard customer of EDR, or if you have other tools on top of EDR like Firebox, AuthPoint, you probably see a lot of incidents come into the WatchGuard cloud. Now, each one of these incidents does have a lot of automation already with our XDR built in to try to give you an ability to not only investigate each individual threat yourself, but also have the opportunity to contain the threat by isolating a device, potentially blocking an IP, or maybe disabling a user account in AuthPoint. The value of something like managed detection and response is that this can happen at scale, meaning you can take a lot of those different alerts that would otherwise take hours to investigate either individually or en masse and have those automatically investigated by the SOC and responded to without you necessarily needing to get involved. Let's take a look at how you measure this. Our efficiency is measured by taking a look at all the alerts, something we call noise reduction. So rather than having to look at all the alerts across all the different severities, the team is reviewing those on your behalf. And we can get into containment within minutes. But just how can we do this when it takes potentially hours to investigate even a single individual alert to get to full containment? Well, this is where you can understand how incident response and SOC efficiency work together with our AI-powered tools. When you receive an alert and typically open a case, you typically have to do some sort of initial triage or investigation. That is to prioritize which alerts are you going to look at: critical, high, medium, maybe even low threats. And on average, just deciding and creating a case as to which one you would look at would take about 15 minutes. Then you have to do another thing, which is look up context. This usually requires an additional SIM, maybe raw logs from the EDR, firewall, or other related events about the assets and users. A typical SOC user would need to take about 15 to 45 minutes with another industry tool in order to do this. On top of that, once you've gathered the context, once you've collected a lot of the information, you have to do a deep dive and an analysis to find out where the attack is coming from and how to properly contain it. You then can coordinate with tools to contain threats like your EDR, your Firebox, or your third-party firewall or third-party EDR to block the traffic, contain the endpoint from further communication, or to provide some sort of temporary containment like disabling a user account. Now, with total MDR, this is happening much, much more efficiently. We already have something called the automatic investigation, which can look up the context for every alert that's created for the system in less than a minute and attach it to a case. The threat hunters also have the capability to use our zero-in technology to look up the adversary and all their different movements and investigate things with a large language model called zero-in, which can help them visualize the attack and get to a containment. Then we have control of the endpoint, network, identity, cloud, all from the WatchGuard cloud already. So we have a very quick ability to deploy containment once we're sure how this is supposed to be deployed. So let's take a quick look at exactly what this looks like in practice. Well, from cases being open to looking up additional context, you can see here in our automatic investigation engine, it's already pulling all that context that you'd have to search through SIM logs or to ask other multiple tools like an EDR, what's going on. And with our tool, it's automatically looked up. This is brought to plain English for people in our SOC to review, and then they can decide whether or not they want to move to a deeper investigation. The deeper investigation, beyond this agentic SOC that's already doing that first context lookup, is what we call zero-in. Zero-in can take all the different alerts and model and visualize where those alerts are connected to your endpoint, network, cloud, identity, and allow the threat hunters to look for root cause analysis to determine what they further need to contain. So something that maybe doesn't have an alert, like an endpoint that's just sitting on the network, but controlling through our models all the other assets, command and control, would be something that we potentially want to contain. They can also ask the large language model to do very quick lookups, like are there any cloud connections from EDR systems that do not have an EDR on them. And by performing this very fast analysis, you can see how just in seconds to minutes, they have an ability to identify accounts that maybe have multiple access from different potentially attacker-controlled endpoints that don't have an EDR, or a single endpoint that may have multiple cloud accounts connected to it. This is how an attacker can establish persistence. So if we want to contain the attacker, we need to deploy containment in these two areas. Zero-in helps us do exactly that. And then when we want to be able to deploy the containment, we deploy it just like we would in the WatchGuard cloud. Now, for most people, this is a deeper dive or explanation as to how we can get to a 6-minute, on average, mean time to first response for critical threats, and how we can investigate threats across multiple different severities and very high volumes, like low, medium, critical, or high, all simultaneously using this AI to efficiently get through all the alerts very quickly and lead to a very fast detection and response or containment time. Thanks very much.